Hello everyone. In this video lecture, we'll be covering the series that is covering the basics of mathematics. So in this video lecture, we'll start with how to convert fractions to decimals. So basically, first of all, we'll learn about what are fractions and then how to convert them into decimal forms. So what are fractions? Fractions are the numbers that can be represented as something upon something. So here I am telling it as something upon something, which I have written as P by Q, where P and Q could be any natural number or whole or integers. Basically, P and Q could be any integers. So what are integers? Integers are number from minus infinity to plus infinity. So that can be fractions are the number that can be represented something upon something. So the upper part, this is called as numerator of the fraction, and the lower part, this is called as the denominator of a fraction. Okay, so this denominator, which is here I have written as q, represented as q, this q cannot be equals to 0, as if it will be equals to 0, the fraction will become not defined mathematically. So now you got to know what are fractions. Now we will learn about how to convert these fractions to decimals. So first of all, in the first part, we will learn about how to convert it when denominator is 10 or multiple of 10 is 10 or multiple of 10. Let's say if I take 22 upon 10, this is a fraction. Okay, how should I convert it to decimal point? When the denominator is 10 or a multiple of 10, here it is 10. What we will do in the numerator part, first of all, from the denominator, the first step will be from the denominator will count number of zeros. Here, this number of 0 is 1. Now, we'll go to the numerator, and as the number of zeros, we will count from the unit place. Here we got 1. 1. Well, this is the one digit, this is the second digit. Now after this first digit, we'll put a decimal point. This is how we're going to convert the fraction to decimal when the numerator is 10. Let's see more examples. Now we have 5 upon 100. Now first of all, as the first step, we'll count the number of zeros. There are two zeros, so after two digit in the numerator, we will put a point, decimal point. 5. I have only one digit. What I'll do, I'll put a 0 again and put a decimal point here. As for our convenience, what we'll do, if there is no digit before the decimal point, for our convenience, we simply put a 0 in front of it. Let's see example number 3. The example number 3 is 7 by, let's say, a thousand. We'll count number of zeros. 7, there are 3 zeros. What we'll do? 1, 2, 3. Put a decimal point here. As for our convenience, we'll put a 0 in front of the decimal point if there are no digits. This is how we can convert a fraction to decimal when the denominator is 10, either 10 or a multiple of 10. The second part. The second part, when the denominator is not a multiple of 10 or 10, is not 10 or a multiple of 10. What we will do, let's say I took the example as 39 by 3. Okay, how will convert this? If this fraction means, what this fraction means, these two digits are in division of one another. What I'll do, by the long division, I'll take the long division and divide 39 by 13. That is divisible in 3 times. Completely divisible. Now my answer for this fraction will be 3. Let's say if we have a number in the numerator which is not completely divisible by the denominator. Here I took 40 by 13. I'll again use the long division method. 40 just divided by 13, and 3 times we got 39. A remainder is 1. Now what we will do? We'll simply put a decimal point here and add a 0. I could see that this 10 is still not divisible by 3. Again, I'll put a 0 here and a 0 again here as per the rule of divisions. I know this 100 is divisible by 13 in 7 times. I guess I could take 91 here. My remainder now is 9. If I go further, the series will continue and I'll get more digit after the decimal point. But here what I got to know, that we on dividing 40 by 13 we got 3.07. This is how I'll convert this fraction part to a decimal part. Let's see another example. In this example, I'll took, let's say, 1 by 2. How we could convert it? Again, the method will be same. We'll do long divisions. So we need to divide 1 by 2. So as I know 1 is not divisible by 2, I'll put a decimal point here. As for the convenience, I'll have put a 0 before the decimal point. We'll add a 0, and in 5 times 10 is divisible by 5. So my 1 by 2 is equals to zero point 0.5. This is how we can convert fractions to decimals. If the denominator is 10, we need to simply count the number of zeros in 10 or in the multiple of 10, and then have to count the same number of digits in the numerator part and then put a decimal point. If there is no digit in front of the decimal point, we need to add a 0 for our convenience. The next part, as we saw, if we want to convert the fraction part to decimal when the denominator is not 10 or a multiple of 10, we'll go with a division method. If the number will be completely divisible, we'll got an integer or a natural number. But if it won't be completely divisible, we'll get the result of fraction into decimal points, as we see in example 2 and 3.